This is the 2020 Jeep Gladiator. It has a 3.6 liter V6 engine, producing about 285 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. And this is what's inside. Alright, so it's starting in the front of the vehicle, with what actually touches the ground are these Falcon MT Wild Peak tires. They're 33 inches, 11.5 inches wide, and are sitting on a 17-inch wheel that is 7.5 inches wide. And dealerships will, if you're a big baller and don't think that 11.5 inches wide at 33 inches tall is good enough for you, they can wrap them in a 35-inch tire that is 12.5 inches wide on these stock 17s. Alright, and then slightly above you'll notice this is a Rubicon package, and by the obvious red and black lettering, has the Jeep badge over here and the trail rated because it's a Jeep. In the front, most Wranglers would have a Jeep badge right here, and that is non-existent. That's one of the changes from the Gladiator. Has the standard 7-inch round headlights, has a bumper with tow straps that support the entire weight because it's chassis mounted, fog lights, turn indicators with side markers built into the fender flares. Then has one of the greatest things about this vehicle is that on the hood it looks ventilated, not real, and then these protection so that if you were to flip the windshield down, it would rest here without cracking your windshield. Alright, to open up the hood to see what's under the engine bay in the engine bay, and I'll flip this first leather down, and normally this is under here, but to get that down you just push down and up, and you're going to do that on both sides. Alright, inside the engine bay you'll see a lot of plastic because everything's covered up. I have the 3.6 liter Pentastar V6, air intake. It's very simple. To remove this plastic cover, there's two T30 Torx bits that you have to remove, and that's about it. Nothing really special under here. Alright, now I'm moving to the rear of the vehicle, where the thing that separates this from a regular Wrangler is different, is the tailgate. So we have a fat Jeep logo. Looks really nice with the dark gray to match the wheels with the red. The black, red, and gray theme is really awesome throughout this entire vehicle. And yeah, backup camera right there. Tow hookups here. And so you drop it down. Fully bed linered, really dirty. Alright, so inside the bed of the truck, like I said before, it's fully bed linered, so all of this is easily just sprayed out. Been transporting lots of dirty stuff, cardboard namely, and there's multiple tow points, tie down straps, two built in that are metal on the edges, as you can see right there, and then two more, one right there, one right there. I have a strap because I've been tying stuff down. That's about it. Oh, one quick thing I wanted to mention is there is this Heart 419, and I'm not exactly sure what that is. Oh, I almost dropped the camera, but it's on there. Alright, moving back to the bumper, there is these, again, tow hooks. I can basically move the entire truck with, because they're, like I said, chassis mounted. So don't have to worry about screwing anything in if you ever get stuck. Pull yourself right out. Alright, so this is the key to the Jeep Gladiator. Clicks out for when the battery dies. Got unlock, lock, horn. It's just on a key strap. It's Jeep. And yeah, so to unlock it, you're gonna unlock, lock, unlock. Let's head inside. Alright, so on the door, there's a lock, unlock, your mirror adjustments. In the door card there is a net, cargo net, and then there's your handle. Alright, once we're inside, you're met with this steering wheel, powered on, step out and brake, start, stop. Just so I can move this in and out. Alright, once inside, you're met with the steering wheel. You have your cruise control adjustments, set, cancel, turn it on. There is your voice activation for Siri or the onboard operating system. And then you have to change the settings on the middle screen. You're just gonna click through this. Alright, and let's go back to Speedo. Alright, so on the left, you're going to have your RPMs. So if it will jump up, as it should. It would be weird if it didn't work. But yeah, we have your transfer case. So right now it's in 2 high. I'm just gonna pull it into 4 high, and that's how you transfer into different drive modes. Throw it back into 2 high. On the right, you're gonna have your fuel. On the left is your coolant temp, your actual outside temperature, and then what way you're facing. And then some of the other modes other than the speedometer are the vehicle info, PSI, tire pressure. Then you have coolant temp, trans temp, oil pressure, oil life, and battery voltage. And then if we go further down, you have your off-road pitch and roll. This is useful when you're off-road. Make sure you're not about to tip over. And then your drivetrain tells you if your sway bar is disconnected or connected, your steering angle. And then you have your fuel economy, not great, 15.2. And then yeah, this is just a different view of that. All right, your trip info. So if the entire lifespan of this vehicle, we have gotten just under 15 miles per gallon. Trip A. All right, we're gonna go down. Start, stop, not ready. Driver seatbelt unbuckled. That tells you start, stop. Your audio source. Right now we're on the Grateful Dead channel. Your messages, and then your screen setup. And yeah, we're back to the top. All right, now moving over to the touch screen, we have your radio. This has Sirius XM, FM, AM, has your other media, your climate controls, your Uconnect apps, your phone. This is just connected to Bluetooth, but down here there is a USB port, and if you plug that in, you can use Android Auto or CarPlay from Apple. And then you have your Sirius XM traffic and weather. Then you have settings, and yeah. So going back, have it muted right now so to make sure no copyright. Tells you a lot of info, and yeah. All right, now looking in the center controls, it's a little bit dirty. You have your volume knob, front defrost, it'll focus. Then you have rear window defrost, your dual climate control. You have your modes, and if you want to recirculate, AC. This is to tune which station you want to be on. And then moving further down, this is the most pressed button in this vehicle. It's to turn auto stop start off, because sometimes like when you're at a light, it will take a long time to turn back on. So I mostly turn that off, even though, because around where I live we don't have many stoplights. And then you have your USB and aux, which is nice that they still offer that. Your 12 volt DC, all the window switches, which is really cool how they're in the middle, so when their doors are off you don't have to have the mechanisms inside the door that press that. And then here's your, what most people will find interesting in a Jeep. You have your lockers off, and then you can put on your front and rear differential locker so that the tires spin at the same rate off-road, your off-road plus button, and then your sway bar disconnect. And then this is where auxiliary switches can be placed. All right, and then right under it you have the transfer case. It shows 2 high, pull back 4 high. Then interesting thing, on top of the gear lever have an actual Gladiator, and so you have, this is the 8-speed manual, so pull back all the way to drive. Manual mode is forward, and then back is plus. And we're gonna get out, park. Then further down you have your e-brake. Simple e-brake, push it down, and yeah. All right, so here you have your you can set these up to your garage door opener, and then if you pull this down, this is where this gets really interesting. You can unlatch here, and pop up, and that is how you take the soft top off. All right, and then so once it's up, you can push it up from the inside. You grab here and pull it back. And it's really simple to have an open air experience in the Jeep Gladiator with the soft top. All right, now looking at the seats, you have gray with red stitching, cloth seats. These can be leather to your request. There are options like that. And very comfortable, kind of more of a bucket seat than the traditional plush seat. And then to go onto the controls, you have, this is to adjust the height of the seat, so you can pump it up for you shorter people, and then for people like me who need all the legroom possible, this is to adjust the back support right here, and this is how you adjust the seat angle. And obviously seat belt. There's rubber all-weather mats, and so that's the seats. All right, so moving on to the back seat, open the door, hop in. I'm 6'3", 215, so this is give you a pretty good indication of what you are. The seat is all the way back, slid all the way back, and it's resting at a pretty nice back angle. So that's really comfortable to drive at. So I'm gonna hop in, have here, or you can grab here. There's multiple places, multiple grab handles to get in. And like a baby giraffe, I'm uncoordinated, but once in this seat, pretty comfortable. You can, there's cutouts here so that your knees can fit right into. Probably gonna bug the driver, to be honest, but I mean, in the event that you need to transport this many giant humans, you can. And open air experience. This is part of the soft top. Speakers up here like most Jeeps with the roll cage. And yeah, I've not ridden much back in the back seat, but it's all right. I would say that for smaller humans or even children, it's perfectly fine. Also, dogs fit perfectly back here. Big golden doodles. So yeah, and then clipping that on the seat, you have the handle. You can change the lock or unlock. Another handle to grab a little net, and then back here there's a net, cargo net, and then some straps. Show that in a second. Yeah, so that's more or less the back seat. All right, so this is the back seat area. Gonna hop in. All right, so now I'm fully in the back seat. Like I said, pretty big guy, so it's not the most comfortable, but if you were to move this seat up or adjust the back angle, it would be perfectly fine. And then this is what I was referring to earlier, is there is a cargo net here in the back of the seat, and then there's these knee cutouts my knees fit perfectly into, and then also there's these straps that you could hook things to. And moving on to the center console back here, you have an outlet, the window adjustments, and you have rear AC, and it's all the same on both sides. All right, and then behind the seats, you can fold these down, extra cargo. Same thing. Oops, be careful not to get the seatbelt tucked behind. Using the camera as leverage. Alright, and then if we move to the passenger side, this is a tether. So what I was saying earlier is that I feel like for a mid-size pickup, Jeep really nailed it in terms of the steering, and because you can just point it and it'll go in that direction, where I feel like some of the other vehicles like the Toyota TRD Pro, you kind of have to get around to it. You can't just point straight at it and it'll go. Feels really good on the road. Like I was saying earlier, it's so much greater than a normal Wrangler because of the longer wheelbase, and it's also kind of it's pretty quick for only having the 3.6 liter Pentastar V6. I mean, we're cruising right now at 55, 56, and the wind noise is probably from the top being down, and yeah, so it's a great riding car. These are a little more windier roads, and that's where this really excels, is not on the freeway going 75 miles an hour, but on these back roads doing 55, 60. It's a really enjoyable vehicle to ride, especially on a warmer day like today. It's December, but it's 65 degrees out and we're having an absolute blast. As you can see, the dog really enjoys it. He's absolutely loving it. And I just feel that this vehicle is, Jeep is making it more not for harsh off-road conditions, where it can still excel at that with all the four-wheel drive low, locking differential, disconnecting sway bars. But this vehicle is fun to drive on the road, and I feel like that's its biggest selling point. It'll get up to speed quickly. You don't have to really worry about it. Third and manual, you can have a bunch of fun. It's really a great vehicle, is all I gotta say. A lot of people don't really like the styling all too much, but it's grown on me a lot. And just the fact that Jeep, they had a truck once, the Comanche. Not many people know about it, but the Gladiator is an absolute blast to drive, and that's the biggest thing. It's not perfect at anything, but it's perfect at everything, if that makes sense. Because it's not good at one thing, but it's just good at everything. I don't think I'm putting that right, but it's just so much fun. That's 60, so I'm gonna back down a little bit. It's just crazy that we've come this far, where Jeep is making a truck that is outperforming Toyota Tacomas, which have been around for a long time. And one of the other important things about this vehicle is that it actually has the Ram rear end, so the rear axle is off of a Ram 1500, I believe. So that helps with the drive on-road driving. And so in a minute, I'm going to flip around and I'm going to get a quick acceleration test. We're on a not busy back road, so safe course. Obviously doing below the speed limit. So that in a second. We're about to feel the acceleration of this Jeep. So when I turn in a second, we'll get a greater, not exact 0 to 60 because I have to pull out onto the road and can't just go 0 miles an hour. But yeah, I'll make sure the dog is okay because that's the most important thing. All right, no one's there. Ready, Bentley? All right, so this is about 15 miles an hour. Punches it 30, 45, 55, 60. I mean, it's not a slow vehicle. I mean, I remember the JK Wrangler is not really close to that. It's a lot slower. The new 8-speed automatic transmission, like I said, really good. And that I meant when I mentioned it earlier. So this vehicle, it's like a Swiss Army knife. It has its functionality. It has complete functionality over everything. You got a pickup bed. You have you can seat 5 people. We have 2 people and a dog right now, and it's doing perfectly fine. He's loving it. You can drop the top, have an open air experience, take off all the doors, flatten down the windshield. I mean, there's so many options of having fun in this vehicle, and I feel like I'm just going to dub this the ultimate fun haver for everyone. That doesn't really make sense, but it does. It just makes sense to me. So, and I think this is about going to end the driving portion. Just a quick acceleration in a second, from about 45 miles an hour to 55, just to give a feeling after we get around this bend, because it's but yeah, the open air experience is amazing in this vehicle, and it corners pretty well for having 33-inch mud terrain tires. We had a JK that had 35s, and it was just kind of scary to drive at higher speeds on the interstate, and this has inspires a lot of confidence. So slow down to about 45 and then punch it, and there's 55. I mean 60. So it's not a slow vehicle, and I feel like that's one of the things that makes this more fun than a traditional an older Wrangler. Just it's quicker, better transmission. Obviously the sound system's great. I would play stuff through here, but copyright is a thing. SiriusXM has all the channels you need, and it's provided 6-12 months depending on your dealership what they offer with that. So that's gonna wrap up the on-road driving portion. All right, time for the Landon score. All right, so this is going to be the Landon score. Oh, I can't spell. Landon score of the Jeep Gladiator 2020. Bought actually a year exactly today ago. It's December the 13th, 2020. And yeah, so let's hop right in. So the fun, like I mentioned earlier, you can take all the doors off, windshield down, top back, has a truck bed, 5 seats, go just about anywhere. I have to give this a 10 in the fun score, because there's just, even if you're just riding down an old country road with top down during the summer, listening to music, it is just a blast. And I feel like that's what makes this vehicle really special, is just the ability to have fun is great. So then we're going to go to loudness. This is for exhaust. So it's a 3.6 liter V6 stock. Obviously you can get a catback exhaust that'll make this pretty loud. This is stock, but inside the cabin. You can hear the engine noise. Engine noise is great. I don't know if they're feeding any through the speakers. It would be smart if they did, kind of like BMW does with the i8. But yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a 3 on the loudness scale. It's not the quietest vehicle. It's no Tesla. Tesla would get 0 in this category, but and then loudness would be like a 10, would be like a straight piped Mercy SV. All right, so then handling, I think this is the best handling Jeep that I've ever been in. So it goes where you want it to. I feel like the Fox suspension really helps with that. So I'm gonna give this a 5 on handling because it's no sports car, but it's pretty darn good for a mid-sized truck that's built on a Jeep platform. And then control, same thing. I feel in control when I'm driving down the street because of the design being very boxy, because it's a Jeep. It's kind of like a sail in the wind. So highway driving in high winds is not the greatest, so that's why I'm going to give it a 7. Other than that, it's really darn good. Speed, I feel it's made great improvement over the Wranglers of past, but it's just not fast. So I feel like 5 is a pretty decent score for that. 0 to 60 is not that fast. I think it's like 7.6, so I'll look it up and put it in the official time. Features, so this model specifically does not have all the advanced safety features. It actually has a smaller screen, but you can get HID bulbs, everything. So I feel like the features in the Jeep Gladiator and most Mopar vehicles are amazing. So I'm going to have to give the features an 8 here. This one I expect would be about a 6.57, but it does have a really nice backup camera. The quality, it's a Jeep. You're not hopping in it expecting it to be like a Rolls Royce, but I feel like the quality of this Jeep in particular is really nice inside. The build quality, everything feel like, even though it's an aluminum doors, they still feel heavy when you close them, and you know when you're inside. The seats are very nice. You can get them wrapped in leather. The interior, the steering wheel's leather. Nice quality screens. Backup camera, like I just said, really, really good. And I'll have to make sure I include a clip of that. And so I'm going to give the quality a 7.5. Alright, and the design. It's a Jeep. Many people hate the design on it. I personally really like the design. I feel like the hardtop definitely looks better, because the top lines flow a lot better, but I feel like the soft top just adds that functionality of going to open air really easily, especially like with the hardtop. You can have the Freedom panels, but the Freedom panels are still a pain, and then you got to store them, whereas the soft top you can just fold it straight back. It's amazing. So I'm gonna give the design, and then the design, I mean, it's a Jeep. Everyone really likes the way Jeeps look. I feel like most people do, not everyone, like I just said. I'm reiterating. So I'm gonna give the design, one more thing is I feel like the JL looks a lot better than the JK, and I really like the hood on the Rubicon with the fake vents. But so give the design a 7. It's not groundbreaking, looks good, it's a Jeep. Not much has changed. Value, so I feel like you could get more for your money in terms of quality or speed by going used market. I feel that Jeeps in the past have held their value really well, because there's just not much that is comparable. I mean, other than the brand new Bronco, what's going to compare to this Jeep, this mid-size truck, other than a Tacoma or I mean, Chevy has their mid-size pickup, and there's a ZR2 package, but I feel like this is the best of the best in off-road mid-size vehicle. So I'm going to give the value an 8 because they hold their value pretty well, and they're not absurdly expensive. They're very expensive vehicles, but it's it's nothing outrageous. All right, and then specialness. So this is the first Jeep truck other than the Comanche in a while, and it entered in to try to compete with the Tacoma, and actually ended up beating out the Tacoma and many off-road tests. So I feel like the specialness of this vehicle is pretty good. I'm gonna give it a 6.5 because I don't know like what this means for the future. I do know, actually, you know what? Specialness. This is gonna get an 8, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because they're about to drop a 392 Hemi in it, and it's gonna be amazing. So that is why I'm changing the special to an 8, because I just remembered that they're gonna drop the 392 V8 Hemi in some of these, and it's gonna make it an absolute blast of a vehicle. I mean, mid-size pickup with a 392 Hemi, producing well over 400 horsepower. It's just gonna shred. It's gonna be absolute blast. So that's why I'm giving an 8 on the special category, and the total is, all right, let's add it up. All right, so the total is 68.5, and it's top of the truck category that I'm gonna give this so far, because first truck I reviewed, oops, my phone fell. But yeah, I feel like that's a good score. I don't feel like there's no off-road category, so, and I feel like a sports car would fare better in this scoring. But I feel like that's a pretty good score for the first mid-size vehicle. I mean, think about drop the 392 in there. You're gonna get the speed up initially, and I mean, not initially, but speed's gonna be higher. Category. The design is only going to improve once you upgrade it. I mean, the thing about Jeeps is that they're built to be upgraded, and so once someone takes it, I mean, you could have the design go to a 10 immediately with just some aftermarket parts. Quality, same thing. Features, same thing. Speed, same thing. Handling can be improved. I feel like I gave it a little harsh score on handling, just because the Rubicon has a little bit better than, let's say, a Sport. So I feel like all these are okay scores. This doesn't, like I said, doesn't cater to a pickup truck, but we'll see how it is. And that stacks up under the Genesis Coupe I reviewed last week. So it's number 2 in the current ranking. Peace.